you know it, it's back. Remember, it's soft underfoot. Sometimes, after much effort, you'll get most of the plant, but not the roots. Don't trust a partial weeding. If the ground is hard packed, start with one plant that is easy to pull, which will loosen nearby soil. Move plant by plant until the soil is clear. Be vigilant. This weed is wrong-headed as a country built on theft. You may need a knife. Hook your finger around its base, then tug. The way you learn to weed is by weeding. This next poem is a poem I wrote a really long time ago, I don't know, maybe a decade ago. It was one of the first poems I ever published, and I've been thinking about how much the context of a poem can change what a poem is. This is called After the Apocalypse. After the apocalypse, will you come down the road? It'll be one of those days with nothing to do, just you and me, and the gravel, a crazy ribbon strung along the fields. Hold my hand now after the apocalypse and wonder with me what to say. The silence will spread out a bit since your talk of politics will be silly. What will we talk of then? After the apocalypse, come hunt what's edible behind gas stations and farms. Oh, let's enter house after house, test the sofas and look in all the drawers. Let's try on hats and light candles, stare at old photographs on our neighbors' thin gray walls. What will the cupboards think of our searching? After we've freed all the chickens we can find, let's scan the horizon, like deer watching for signals in our new outpost. Then wait at empty bus stops for the wind to whip up something other than the quiet. Some detour around the awkwardness, some new ship nosing into view. After the apocalypse, we'll read all the books by daylight and argue about commas in bed after bed as we make our way toward whoever is left in this mangy world. Pull your weight, old man. Bend your mind against a dying world. There are no more flowerings to come but this. So that was a brand new poem and a very old poem. I'm going to realize that I did not turn my timer on. There's an intimacy in Zoom and Facebook worlds, even to approximate what we used to have when we were in person. These next poems are from this book. It's called Keep This to Yourself. And it's put out by Button Poetry, as Dawn said. And this is a book I wrote in response to losing my brother to an opioid overdose 2 years ago. And so these poems center around the opioid epidemic and a very intimate response to that. And I'm going to read, five poems from this book, and then move on to finish up. This first poem is called Losing. My brother is lost. I can't find my brother. I say it over again, when I lost my brother. A back road I knew once and now can't find. A specific wave on John's Pond, the last one we saw there, the blue-lipped sleep of overdose. He goes from one office to the next, and no one will return my calls. One day, he was somewhere. I know he must have been. The difference in weight between alive and dead. Do the old experiment again. Weigh the escaped soul. Let it have gone somewhere. Let it have packed one bag. Is my brother any amount of atoms at all, fending for themselves? If I keep saying, I have lost my brother, is there a corollary? Do I make wayfinding, a compass, a geocache, a crashed plane on his island, his black box full of laughter. Every next syllable said by everyone is my brother. Silent mouths, these are where dead brothers live. I keep a jar of nails like a bouquet of denial. Life ends with us finding leaves underfoot. Fend for ourselves, I'm saying. There is music everywhere. There must be a bit of his breath left. Put the needle in the track again. My brother, somewhere, knows the tune. The Big Dig. The games were hide and seek, horse, and chase Paul, whom we couldn't catch. My brother, a DNC, secret code for does not count. And we meant well that he could play, that his mistakes wouldn't count. But this is the story of how he kicked the ball for all he was worth and didn't make anything happen. How he ran from sewer to sewer like his life depended on it. How he followed us around, red-cheeked, while we made the baskets and hid in the bushes. What am I to say? That all is forgiven? That the milk is in the milk box on the back porch? That the neighbor boys didn't mean it when they tied him with a garden hose and threw him in the pool? That I never held the knife in the night kitchen air? That everything was worth it? Listen, the books we read were Are You My Mother? The Little Engine That Could, and the monster at the end of this book. What else is there to say? That at some point, after the last time he came clean, I believed him, that I understood addiction before it was too late as just another illness, that I became, as he became, a good person in the end, that when I visited him at his apartment next to Logan Airport and did not say what I felt, that I felt forgiveness, that when our mother told me later she was missing some cash, I didn't have a steel heart, that I felt a sparrow of regret, said instead, I am never going back, and Jesus Christ, and that fucker. Soon after his son was born, I dreamt I met my brother at a laundromat. His hands were skeins of wool, and he couldn't work the machines, like a brontosaurus with a fork. His union card was tucked into his cap, and next to him on the floor was his jackhammer from the Big Dig. It was my last chance to get things right, so I took my 20 paces, and we squared off like two cowboys across the cracked linoleum. My gun was a mouth that could not stop yelling, and he just stood there, empty as a stolen child, not even this dream big enough for the two of us. If they mean to have a war, let it begin here. My brother can't swim. No promise of shipwrecks can make him keep a needle out of his arm. I tread water out past the dock. Our mother makes piles of rocks, 28 rocks in each, rocks for years. If you put your hand between her shoulders, her back is a shell. Our father paces and remembers the revolution, its many dawns like holidays. We only want to take a vacation. We want to get away from home. Other families do it and return refreshed. We have come to John's Pond as a last resort to regroup. We only want what we can't have, each of us striking off. Every direction we take is grace. My brother's teeth fall out one by one like casings as he sings about the whites of our eyes. I was talking, I've been thinking a lot lately about how hard it is to follow work around that we write that's about pain and loss. And it's in some ways writing about events like this feels soothing in the moment to write about it and painful, but then also to keep revisiting it is both it's both really painful to re-experience these events, but also in a way, I find it's comforting. It's a strange mix of um, how do we write about loss, and then how do we experience our own poems about loss. I just wanted to say that in the midst here. I'll read two more from this book. And I wish we were all together. I wish everybody that I'm reading to here could be together and we could have a brief conversation about that. But I think there's a lot of loss. I mean, I don't think there's a lot of loss. I know that the world is full of loss right now. And I feel like poems are one way we can make our way among all that we've lost. Mass General. They've put the television on for my brother. Wild horses grooming each other 4 stories above the streets of Boston. My brother oblivious to horses and the hurricane warnings across the bottom of the screen. Storms more massive now than ever. Superstorms like monsters crashing through fishing villages. The storms named for us in alphabetic sequence, so that we are the eye of ourselves watching our own landfall. For instance, a shadow comes across the breakwater, which is my sisterhood. I am no longer a sister. My brother is dead. The tight mohawk, just a path now to follow with my fingertips. His mouth taped shut, his body hooked up to every machine. Him long above the room, looking down. His EKG scroll curls on the windowsill, my mother into my father, into me. His heart will be transplanted into another man's chest this week. My father telling everyone at the wake where his son's heart has gone. We watch the horses nip each other's necks and ask questions. No one knows what to do now, so we stay in room 8 for far too long, standing close as people come and go. We watch the horses. I think if there's any poem I've written that I hope is some kind of an anthem for the opioid epidemic, it's this one. Weeks after my brother overdoses. I search Craigslist for sadness, a white couch the only result. Happiness lands red shipping containers, and that's it. I wander through days like an envelope marked, please forward. Listen, my brother is a ghost. I keep thinking, I am not a sister anymore, though others assure me I still am. Just sister them, builders say, to make a thicker beam, or to span a distance. Join the faces of 2x6s with nails, make more from less, make do. No one will let me have my sadness or tally what I've lost. I make lists like recipes for how to go on alone. I draw his death when I doodle, making little crime scenes, as if this epidemic were a murderer, a suspect, a criminal. I draw him on every sidewalk to inflate the numbers, to give my brother to everyone. Inside the outline, I do some math. I add him to 72,000 and subtract him from me. I'm going to read one more poem. It's in response to the epidemic and the pandemic, which, as I said earlier, so much loss. I'm going to fail to read a funny poem tonight. I think I usually go for that at some point, but I think I'm going to hold this space and read a poem about what's going on in our country right now and how it feels to me to move through the world that we are now inhabiting. This is called Running Errands, and I want to thank Matthew Lippman at Love's Executive Order for putting it up yesterday. Running errands. I saw a woman's face today at the supermarket. She was standing at the end of the wine aisle, waiting to use the automated checkout machines, just breathing, just standing there as if it was okay to have her face out, a little Rushmore statue of herself for everyone to gaze at, unmasked, first woman president of aisle 3, important, revered. And I realized I hadn't seen a stranger's face in forever and wondered if we will forget how to read faces. For a minute, I wanted to announce to the whole produce section of Price Chopper that we had one among us, a non-believer, someone who didn't fucking care. But then I remembered she might be someone who can't wear a mask. Then ruminated among the packages of lemongrass about how now there is one more thing to divide us. It looks like we might be asked at this for a long time. I think of the powerless suddenly feeling powerful, this virus being a hoax, a government plot. Already, I don't know how to indicate that I am smiling. Convinced that no one can tell anyway, I've come to enjoy my anonymity, not doing my hair, not caring what I wear. No one can tell it's me anyway, or so I think. But this woman's face was so bold, so just standing there. I felt quickly in my gut that I loved her, that I might not stop staring. God, her lips, her chin, all her expressions. I wonder when we will all fall apart in this distance. And when our masks come off someday, what will we do with our faces, the ghosts of our tongues? I have already begun feeling strange about leaving the house, like my aunt who wouldn't walk down the driveway for her mail. One day they came for her, and years later, before they bulldozed her house to build condos, my ex-husband and I walked in to find her breakfast dish still on the table, the newspaper open like someone flopped on a bed in the heat with their mouth open to the ceiling, before salvaging the front and back door, the bathroom sink, the dishes, and food processing equipment. We may shut ourselves in, waiting for someone we love to force us outdoors, force us to go to the neighbor's yard for a party, make us remember that the inside of a house is just that, not a world. After the supermarket, I went to Guy's Farm and Yard to buy straw for my end of the world garden as a way to practice being out in the world again. I halted and stammered. I didn't know how to ask a question. Navigation failed me from feet to car. I remember things like distant prayers, parties, dinners at Lunig's, playing pinball at archives, my fingers touching anything. I hardly remember how to make my way out there, as if I am the author of the first book I read about evolution. I worry about what we are losing. It might only be me, but isn't it you too? Aren't you a little lost in your own body, forgetting what comes next, how to have a day? Thanks, everyone. Thank you for being here, and thank you for all over the internet. Thank you for sharing poems with each other and for listening to poems and for believing in poems as a way to heal ourselves. Thank you to the Frost Place for having me, the amazing Frost Place, and thank you to Button Poetry, and stay safe and love to everyone.
Thank you so much, Kerrin. And thank you everyone for being here. I hope you'll join us tomorrow evening at 7 for reading by Frost Place faculty member Dee Dee Jackson. Look forward to seeing you then.